What the hell happened? Part 9. Whew. The last one was, well, I mean, if you lived through it, it was a doozy. If you're just watching it, it's a different type of doozy. Anyway, basically, I found out that my wife of 7-ish years ended up having affairs and multiple of them. And I was trying to work through forgiving her. At the same time, I'm very reflective on myself, like, what did I do? How did I screw this up? Um, I wasn't always the best husband. I was most definitely never the best husband. Um, and there was validity to what she said. I was ignoring her, yes, and I had my reasons, because bills, because renovate our house, because all this stuff. Were they excuses? Possibly. Probably. I don't totally know. It's just one of those things. Like, I could have done better, and I should have sacrificed in other areas of life so that the marriage was better. But would it have changed anything? I don't know. Honestly, I doubt it. Anyway, Delilah finally gets convinced to get counseling with me, marriage counseling. We're still in the same church, still going to the same church. I have allowed her to have zero consequences from any of her behavior. I just thought it was the most forgiving way and the way we could move on. Like, what was I going to do? Like, call up her family and say, hey, she cheated on me. Or, go tell the church, hey, she cheated, fire her from her job so we can have even more trouble making ends meet. Like, there was a financial aspect to it. Did I, was it not just the religious thing? Did I also know that, like, I would lose everything financially if I split with her? What motivated me? Not totally sure. It was a mixture. Anyway, finally convinced her to go to counseling. She just didn't want to. She wants to be done with it, move on from it. It's done. It's over. Like, have you forgiven me or not? And it's like, yes, but I'm an angrier person. I have outbursts at her. I yell and scream at her over dumb stuff like her choice of music. She's telling me, I remember one particular time she's telling me about, like, this music group or that music group, and I just, like, lose it, and I'm just yelling at her about how dirty the microwave is or something. Nobody cares about your stupid music, and I just, that was an idiot. Like, so when I say we need to go to counseling, it wasn't me, like, dragging her to counseling and you need to be a better person. I was like, we got issues, and I got issues, and I've not talked to anybody about this for like 2 years. And I need to backtrack. I have to introduce another character. We're going to call him Tom because, whatever, I ran out of interesting names. But everybody that's a character in this is a character towards the end, and there's a reason they're being brought into this. So, Tom was a very conservative Mennonite, more conservative than I was. Pretty much threw his hands up, said he had enough of it. Never truly did, though. He just switched from one type of Mennonite to another. Whatever, not relevant at this point in time. But we just ended up becoming buddies. We played video games. We'd go over to, or he'd come over to my house. He had some other friends. He had a brother. They came over. We played video games. This was going on before I found out about all the affairs that my wife was having. But anyhow, Tom and I become really good buddies. We do a bunch of stuff together. He's a mechanic. I don't know much about working on my vehicles. My vehicles were always falling apart. He helped me out. I helped him out with computers so we could do more video games, because again, I'm just crazy motivated by playing video games, and I needed an outlet. Like, I just needed some way to turn my mind off of everything that was going on. And so Tom and I become really good buddies. We hang out a lot. I'm always over at the mechanic shop. He's always over in the evenings hanging out with me. He works on my truck. We become friends, and really good friends. And I eventually end up telling him about the whole affair thing. And so he's like the one person I ended up telling, and I don't think he let it go any further. Like, he didn't really know. We didn't have many mutual friends. Or he just, the ones that we did have, he never brought it up, as far as I know. Anyhow, I ended up going to counseling with my wife. Counselors from the church. They were just church counselors. They did have some kind of credentials. At least one of them did. Anyway, they were really good, so whatever. We went there, and they basically told me the affair was not my fault, or the affairs were not my fault, and they had some kind of Christian course thing. She went through workbooks. She was going through all this stuff, writing down all the right things, whatever. Honestly, I think she wanted things to go back to the way they were. I wanted things to go back to the way they were. And so we go through this whole, probably a 6-month period, meeting at least once a week, and we're, going through stuff. And at the end of it, it gets better. It worked. But things aren't the same. They're not the same. They cannot possibly go back to being the same. But I did, again, the whole 2-year thing passed. I'm not feeling it as bad. I stopped having outbursts at her, at least anywhere near on a consistent basis it was coming to be. She absolutely frustrated me with a lot of things, and she knew I liked things to be done a certain way, and that she would not do them that way. So I ended up being the one, in addition to, in my mind, doing all this other stuff. I also ended up cleaning the house and doing all these other things, because she would just take grease and smear it all around. And I truly don't know, like, was I like just an angry, like, person, just upset she didn't do things? Like, was I too critical? Was I too much, I really want this to be this way, and I'm mad at you if you don't make it my way? Like, is that a personal fault in me? Or I honestly think she was just like, I don't want to clean the kitchen. If I just smear grease around, instead of like using soap and water, just use water and smear it everywhere, he'll come clean it up, and I don't have to do anything, and I can just go back to, chilling, hanging with friends, being on my phone. There were just, every marriage is going to have some kind of like just frustrations, and that was a consistent frustration. And I think I think she had a good thing going. I would do everything, and she knew that no matter what she did or how she treated me, I was never going to leave her, and always going to provide. And that was another thing, is like, she's working at a daycare, and like, I'm like, come on, go get some college education. We have no kids. Like, kids just didn't come along. We didn't try for them. We didn't not try for them. Kids just never happened. And I'm just like, well, you're not a stay-at-home mom taking care of kids. Go get a career type of job. Bring in some kind of real income. And she just, I don't want to. Just want to hang out with kids in a daycare. She wanted to do babysitting, all kinds of stuff that just didn't pay anything. And I got myself to a point where I'm like, let's progress in life. And I changed. She didn't change. I changed. I changed into being very motivated, very self-driven, and she never got that way. She just stayed, whatever, laid back. Yeah, that's just how it was. By the time this whole counseling thing was over, and, a year or two down the road, I'm feeling like it's all fine and over with, and there's no real issues anymore. I'm back to like actually trusting she's not doing that anymore. And then more religion stuff. We ended up leaving the church that we were a part of for however many years, and kind of formed our own church. It wasn't really the plan, but there were some things that just, with that church, it just, no. Anyway, out of time again. Next part.